All right, good morning. You can be seated. We're a little bit different today. We're just going to get right into it. And unless you wanted to stand during the whole service, that's fine. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so if you want to jump up and cheer. Anyway, so we're in this series, and I wasn't here last week. Chuck Lee did a good job last week. Didn't he? He's in here. Let's give him a hand. He did a great job. We were in Oklahoma checking out this other beast feast that took place on Friday and Saturday, and then I spoke at a friend of mine's church in Oklahoma, and and we watched it online, so it was good. But we're in this series called Living Your Best Life, and it's, you hear stuff about that, and sometimes I make fun of people who say, living your best life. I think the world's view of how to live your best life is obviously different than God's view. Right? For the world, their view of your best life is wrapped up in possessions and just worldly things, the achievements and all of that. But God's definition of living your best life is a little bit different. And when you live your best life in God, you have peace in your life. And that's what you need. That's what we all need, is peace and joy. And so 2 weeks ago, I spoke on John the Baptist, and I talked about how he said he must increase and I must decrease, because John the Baptist was getting a lot of notoriety, and there started to become a rivalry amongst his followers, and they were trying to go, they were going, hey, John, this Jesus fellow's got more people than you now. And he was like, well, that's the point. He's like, it's not about me. Jesus is the superhero, and I'm just the sidekick. Like, it's Batman and Robin. And I said, you're not Batman, right? You're Robin. And really, I don't know if Batman and Robin's a correct analogy, because Batman's not even a superhero. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. Tell me what superpowers he has. Batman has no superpowers. He just has some great gadgets that he came up with. And so, anyways, I know that I'll get some hate mail from that too. But anyways, So I just said last week, 2 weeks ago, that you're not the hero of your story. Jesus is. And if you live your life that way, I promise you, when you get to the end of it, it'll all turn out okay. So let's get into this story. There's a lot of verses that I want to cover here, and I'm not even going to read it all. But this is John chapter 4, we're going to start with verse number 1, and this is where Jesus meets the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. And here's what it says. Jesus knew the Pharisees had heard that he was baptizing and making more disciples than John. This goes back to last week. Though Jesus himself didn't baptize them, his disciples did. So everything we learned about 2 weeks ago about how they were all baptizing, it wasn't even Jesus doing the baptizing. It was his disciples. And so there was this rivalry. They were trying to make it a rivalry between the two. And John the Baptist was like, no, there is no rivalry. It's all supposed to go to him. All right, verse 3 says, so he left Judea and returned to Galilee, and he had to go through Samaria on the way. Now, again, I tell you guys all the time, when you're studying Scripture, you want to take a pen or a highlighter and underline or highlight certain characteristics that are important, like details that are important. And in this one, where it says he had to go through Samaria on the way, that's a very important thing. So let me give you some background, because you may or may not be familiar with the Bible and with all of the context going on here. So Samaritans were half Jewish and half Gentile, so half Jew, half something else. And full Jewish people despised them. They just hated them. And so there was this conflict between the Samaritans and all the other Jewish people. And so if you can just imagine, like, you had all of Israel, and it was broken down into tribes, but Samaria was like right in the middle. And so if you went from Judea up to Galilee, the fastest route would be to go through Samaria. But most Jews went around it. It was like the ghetto of that day. It was just a place that you didn't want to break down late at night. You know what I mean? Like, or run out of gas late at night. You filled up before you went through there. But most people didn't even go through there. And so when Jesus told his disciples, I need to go through Samaria, I think they were a little bit surprised. But I also think that it was an ordained appointment, that he had ordained beforehand that he wanted to meet with this woman. Because here's what, we'll see how it unfolds. Verse 5 says, eventually he came to the Samaritan city of Sychar, I don't know if that's how you say that, near the field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon the Samaritan woman came. A Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" So what you got to understand about this, and if you pick up on some of the details, so in that context, and that if you can get in a time machine and go back 2,000 years, you would see how, like I described to you, Jews didn't want anything to do with Samaritans. But it wasn't just that. Like, as a man, he was it was just kind of off limits for him to speak to her in the manner that he did. Like, it just didn't do that. And what you find out about her is this was like noontime. People you wouldn't go to the well at noon, right? Because you can't go in the bathroom back then. You couldn't go and just turn the faucet on and take a shower, get a drink. You can't do that back then. They didn't have running water. So all of the water that they got, they had to go and dig wells. And so people went to the well, but you would go early in the morning or late at night because that's the coolest part of the day. She went in the middle of the day, which tells us that she was an outcast in society. Like, that's the time that they allowed other people who really weren't fitting in society. And we know, we don't know right now why she's an outcast in society, but we're about to find out. But those are just some things that we know about her. And it's interesting that, so Jesus is just different than most people. Like, she was surprised. She was surprised that Jesus, who was a Jew, she didn't really know he was the Son of God at that time. She just saw this Jewish man sitting at the well when she came up in the middle of the day, the hottest part of the day, and she's used to people treating her like an outcast. You know what I mean? Like, she's used to people looking down their nose at her, thinking they're better than her because of the mistakes that she's made in her life. And she's shocked that there's a man, a Jewish man, that wants to have a conversation with her, which is great because Jesus he doesn't fit into our box. He doesn't fit into our mold. He did things that people don't ordinarily do. But he also gave us, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but he gave us an example to follow. Can I just tell you guys that you should never treat anybody without dignity and respect? I don't care if they're homeless, begging for food. I don't care if they've been divorced a whole bunch of times. I don't care if they're hooked on crystal meth. I don't care if they don't look like you or they live on the wrong side of the tracks, right? We have no right. You cannot call yourself a Christian if you treat people like that in a despised manner. You couldn't be acting further from Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? And I see it all the time. I see it from Christians all the time that look down their nose at somebody that doesn't look like them. And we have to be very careful because in what I know about God by reading the scriptures is that those are the people dearest to his heart. And so for us to shun somebody like that, like I said, you're acting as further away from Jesus' behavior as you could possibly get. So we have to be very, really careful. All right, let's go on to the story. Verse 10 says, Jesus replied, this is what he said to her. He goes, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water." Or I think I missed the whole thing here. I missed verse 9. Did I miss verse 9? I did 9. Okay. So he asked her for a drink, and then he goes this. Verse 10, he goes, "If you knew who I was and the gift that God had for you," he goes, "you would ask me, and I would give you living water." And which is weird. Like, she didn't understand that at the time. Verse 11 says, "But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said, "and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you are greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoyed?" Verse 13, Jesus replied, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again, but those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life." "Please, sir," the woman said, "give me this water." Like, she wants the water. She's thirsty. "Then I will never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to draw water." Like, that was her deal. Like, she was like, she's got this bucket in her hand, and she's like, he just said that he can give me some water that I'll never, I don't think any of us fully understand. I mean, maybe the older people in the crowd, there's some people, maybe you grew up without running water or without, certain amenities that we enjoy. But the majority of the people in here, we just take for granted that we go to the faucet and turn that on and then complain that it's not hot enough, or it's not cold enough, or whatever. Anyone ever drank well water from a tap? It's disgusting, right? You just taste it. Anyways, some of you grew up on it, and that's your flavor. I'm not criticizing you, but she goes, she's not understanding what Jesus is saying. Jesus goes, "I've got some water. I can give you water that you'll never have to be thirsty again." And so obviously this was a metaphor that he was using, that she didn't understand it at the time, but this was a metaphor for a deeper conversation. And the conversation is this, that what he was trying to communicate is that, we all have physical needs and wants and desires. Like, we need food and water and shelter and all those things. But that's not really going to truly satisfy you over the long term. And I talk about this all the time. I see people absolutely destroying their lives over temporary things that are only going to satisfy. I know people that have thrown away their marriage over, a temporary pleasure with another person they're not married to. I've seen people sacrifice their jobs. I've seen people sacrifice their physical health over temporary things because we lack self-control. I'll just give you some illustrations here. Think about, like, when it's summertime. Aren't you looking forward to summertime? Aren't you sick of the cold? I know I am. And so this summer it's going to be scorching hot out and humid, right? And you're going to be sweating. Some of you guys plant a garden or you're mowing the grass. And just think about last summer, like, when that happened, like how just parched you were. And all you wanted was a drink of water. Or maybe it was, for you, sweet tea. Anyone like sweet tea? Now, when I say sweet tea, I know Chuck's in here. Chuck makes Southern sweet tea. Does anybody know what the difference between sweet tea is and Southern sweet tea? It's about that much sugar in the bag, you know what I mean? Like, you just dump it in there. Yeah. That's if you've never had Southern sweet tea, you're missing out. Like, it's something you got to try at least once in your life. But think about it. Whether it's sweet tea or a drink of water, right? You come in the house and you're sweating, and that fulfills you. Like that, you drink and you drink and drink till you can't drink no more, and you just want to go sit on the couch, right? Because you drank so much, and you're satisfied for a little bit, right? You're going to get thirsty again in just a little bit. If you go back out mowing, you're going to get thirsty in about 20 minutes or whatever it is, because that's only a temporary thing. One of my favorite places to go, it might be my favorite place to eat, is M. Chama's. I don't know if anyone has ever eaten it. It's like a knockoff of Fogo de Chao, I think is where. If you've ever eaten there, or either of them, it's a Japanese steakhouse restaurant, and they just, like you go there, and there is a salad bar, which never gets used, because they will bring you, they have like 15 or 20 waiters and waitresses coming around with meat on a plate, on a stick, and they come up to you and go, "Do you want, this is like T-bone steak, and this is ribeye," or they'll come up with some pork, and it was just all these different types of meat. You guys look at me like you've never eaten there before. I'm telling you, that is as close to heaven on this side of earth that you're ever going to get. I promise you. Like, when I go there, I just don't eat all day, maybe 2 days, and I go because I'm getting my money's worth, you know what I mean? And you go there, and I just eat all this meat, and I go out of there weighing about 10 pounds more than I walked in, And I'm full, right? I'm full. You ever been just really, really full, satisfied, and then you get hungry again? Like the best meal that you've ever eaten, you're going to get hungry just a few hours later, because that's the way life works. And the same is true with sex. The same is true with buying shiny stuff. The same is true with buying clothes, right? You have all the latest fashions, and then things change, and you got a whole closet full of stuff you spent a lot of money on that nobody wears anymore. That's last year, Cars, same thing. You buy a new car. As soon as you drive it off lot, it's worth $10,000 less. Like all of these things and buying new stuff. What I found out about myself is I do feel better when I buy new stuff. I do. I go, like, it's the weirdest thing in our relationship. My wife hates to shop, like despises it, but I actually like to shop. It's weird. Most of the time, it's the woman and the man hates to shop, right? But she hates going to Walmart. She hates going anywhere. But when I go buy new stuff, I just feel, and I know I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's shiny. I like that, and I know that that's going to get old and wear out, and that's not going to satisfy me. But it is what it is. But I know that does something. Like it's a temporary rush, but that's all that it is, and that's why people live their lives. I know lots of people, probably the majority of the people, live their lives for that rush, whether it's drinking a beer or doing drugs or getting high or buying new shiny stuff. All of that stuff, you're just trying to fill this void in your heart that it can only be filled by Jesus. And I promise you that's the truth. I got a few observations that I'd like for you to write down if you're taking notes. This is a long one. It says, Jesus wants us to know that all these things are only going to satisfy temporarily, but he has something that will permanently satisfy, that permanently satisfies us. Okay? I may have messed it up in the spelling there, but I don't care. You understand the point? Like he constantly taught that, and people go through their whole lives trying to figure this out, they've got this God-sized void in their soul, and they're just trying to fill it up with whatever they can find. I certainly did that before I became a Christian. And then the sad thing to me is I see that Christians will give their lives to Christ, and then sometimes we still try to do that, because it's almost like we're on autopilot, and we're still trying to, like, it's almost like Jesus isn't enough for us, and we still got to have more and more and more. And we know intuitively more and more and more is never going to be enough. You ask a rich person, how much money is enough? Just a little bit more. I don't know. They don't know how much is enough, but it's more than what they have. And so you're never going to fulfill that deepest need by money, by possessions, by achievements, by any of those things. Well, let's go on in the story. So the story was Jesus goes and sits at the well. This Samaritan woman walks up, and they have this conversation. He's like, give me a drink. And she was shocked. And so he goes, well, if you knew who I was, not in a prideful, boastful way. He was just like, if you knew the gift God had for you, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for something, and I would give you living water. And then the conversation takes a turn, because right there in the middle of this, Jesus stops her, and he goes, go and get your husband, Jesus told her. And she says, like, isn't that a weird thing? Like, they're just having this conversation, and he just pivots and goes, hey, go get your husband. And she goes, I don't have a husband, the woman replied. And Jesus said, you're right, you don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth. And so I want to talk about this just for a minute. I want to speak to this, why Jesus pivoted to this and what he was trying to do. This woman had been married 5 times. She has 5 failed marriages, and now she's shacked up with some dude that she's not married to. And I call her a relational train wreck. That's what I call her. She's not alone. I know a lot of people that are not good. I would just say it like this. She's not good with relationships, right? Can we all agree she's not good with relationships? She has a hard time in that. Now listen, I can feel the pushback from some people. Like you're probably going, well, you don't even know. Like, you're right, I don't know the story. I'm reading a lot into this. All I know, here's the facts. She's been married 5 times. She's been divorced 5 times, and now she's shacked up with some guy. So those are the details. Now, you might say, well, how do you know every one of those marriage failures was her fault? Could have been the man. Could have been. The odds are it wasn't, but it could have been. Do you know why I think that? This is just my thing. This is what I'm reading into this. I think this because the only common denominator in all 5 marriages was who? Her, right? So I'm just speculating here that maybe she's just not, and it could be that she's the victim and she just 5 different times just married the wrong guy. But if that's the case, her picker's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, she's got a bad picker. I know a lot of people have got a bad, in which case, if that's true, still her fault. Get a better picker. You know what I mean? Come on, I'm just speaking truth to you today. I'm just trying to share the truth with you. So, they could have died. She might have murdered them. We don't know what happened. But that's a great point. It's weird. All 5 of these men just died mysteriously. Don't eat her chili. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know what happened, but that is a great point. But I think we would all agree that, the way Jesus is framing this, she's not good with relationships, and that's okay. There's people in this room, you're not good with relationships, but you need to get better, right? You need to get a better picker. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm telling you, if you keep looking, if you're going to the club and to the bar to find your Prince Charming, he might be there, but you should come to church to look for that person. You should find someone that loves Jesus, right? And so, here's what I want to say about this, because I don't know exactly what happened with these 5 marriages, but I do know this. I do know that, and this is what I believe, that the people that I know that just go through marriage after marriage. I know people who have been married lots of times, and they just can't get it right. I think that when I talk about having a bad picker, I think that stems from your self-identity crisis. Like you don't believe that you deserve the best, and so you pick somebody who abuses you. You pick somebody who cusses you out. You pick somebody who doesn't treat you like the queen that the princess that God sees you as. Because when you start seeing yourself the way God sees you, you would never let somebody mistreat you like that. You would never marry a man that would treat you that way if you knew who you were. You can clap for that, because I'm just telling you. And so. And this is for guys too. If you don't know your identity in Christ, you're always going to settle for second best, men and women. And so what you got to learn to do is you got to learn to appreciate who you are and understand who God values you as, okay? And so let's get into this a little bit. I want to transition just a little bit, and since it is Valentine's Day tomorrow, are you guys excited about that? Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. And so let's talk about relationships just for a little bit, because we have an example here of some bad relationships, and so let's talk about this. First off, I want to give you a piece of advice. Okay, well, this is my advice to you. Don't ever take advice from someone who's been divorced 5 times. Okay, that's just free advice to you. Like that's serious. Like I've talked to people who've been divorced 3 times, and they're telling me, hey, you don't want. I'm like, with all due respect, I don't respect your opinion, And because sometimes people get cynical. They get, jaded about relationships, and you can't trust anybody. Well, that may be your experience, but, because your picker's bad or whatever, or maybe you're the problem. But I'm just telling you, if you want, especially for anybody married in here, you need marriage advice, and you should find someone who has a healthy marriage and go to them and say, what do you do to have a healthy marriage? Listen to those people. Stop listening to people who can't get it right. All right, so I'll get some emails about that one too. So that's one thing. Oh, and by the way, I was just thinking, and I went online this week to research this. I was like, there's people in Hollywood that have been, they're just relational train wrecks. And I was like, I just Googled who's been married the most in Hollywood, that type of thing. All right. For 500 points, who could tell me, who do you think, what Hollywood actor has been married the most times? Well, okay, let me say it this way. This one person's been married 8 times. Elizabeth Taylor's one of them, and then there's another one. I don't know how many George Clooney's been married, but he didn't come up on the list. What? Two people has been married 8 times. Elizabeth Taylor and then this other guy. No, when I say it, you're just going to be like, really? Larry King. Larry King found 8 women to marry him. It baffles me. But anyways, we're not. I was going to show you a picture of him, but we're not going to go there. Richard Pryor has been married 7 times. I didn't know that. Billy Bob Thornton's been married 6 times, which is shocking, Anyways, it's just, all I'm saying is these people aren't the ones you want to go to for marriage advice. You want to find someone who's been married for 50 years and still loves each other, And so, anyways, let me give you the second observation I have about this. Number 2 is a healthy marriage requires constant work on communication. And you know this, everyone in here who's married, you know that communication's always tough. That's usually where there's the breakdown. They say the number one thing that married people fight about is finances, and I think that that's probably true, but I think a lot of it has to do with the breakdown in communication. Just because, and really all relationships require communication, but good communication. But I want you to know, and this is not a newsflash, that I'm not breaking any ground by telling you this, but men and women communicate differently. We know that, right? You got married thinking, I love this person, and then now you can't figure out why they do what they do. Like, why do they keep getting on my nerves? Why do they keep aggravating me? Are they doing it on purpose? Or why? Come on, we all know that. Men communicate different than women. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with this. Go to this next slide. Got some memes here. Here's one, communication, the key to a happy marriage. Maybe that's how you do it. I don't know. Go to the next one. This one's funny. Communication. Honey, if I agreed with you, we would both be wrong. Now look, I admit, most of what I'm about to show you and tell you is coming at it from a man's perspective because that's who I am. I'm a man. Still don't understand women. I don't understand how to communicate with them fully, but yes, my hearing is broke. Go to the next one. This one's not a funny one. This is when discussing an issue. This is a serious one. When discussing an issue with your spouse, try to stay focused on the issue, constantly bringing up everything they've done wrong or irrelevant stuff prevents the issues from ever being solved. Okay, I don't know if I read that right, but you get the point. So let me give you some pro tips about that, related to that. Just leave that up there for a minute. So these are pro tips, but I'm not a pro, okay? I'm just saying, I just put it in there like that. Here's one. Avoid saying you always or you never. People do that in relationships. Like you start arguing with your spouse and they'll go, well, you always do this or you never do this. And that's probably not true. Like nobody always does anything and never does not, right? So just stay away from generalities like that. That doesn't help the situation. Also, don't assume that you know what the other person meant, okay? You know what I mean? We make assumptions a lot about somebody says something and you take it the wrong way, or women do this a lot. Okay, this is from a man's perspective. Let me show you how this works. Okay, it's Friday night and you go, where do you want to go eat? He says, where do you want to go eat? And she says, I don't care. She does care. She does care because you name something and you're going to find out real quick she does care. You go, okay, we're going to Mexican. No, I don't want to go there. You just said you didn't care. But here's the little secret for the guys, okay? She wants you to read her mind. She wants you to know where she wants to go. All right? And there's where the rub is because we can't even read our own mind. You know what I mean? So I got a couple of this is related to this about communication in marriage. This is a video. Let's watch this video.
It's just, there's all this pressure, And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
Yeah, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like, there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. If you would just...
Don't.
Try to see things my way.
Okay. So it's not about the nail. Okay, guys, she just wants you to listen, okay? I've learned that. She doesn't want me to fix it. She just wants me to listen, okay? So just write that down. I got another one. While this video's, I should have a water bottle back there somewhere. If I don't, can someone bring me some water up? All right, thank you. So this next one, this is a great commercial. You got, for the guys, you need to write down how to get this. Let's check this out. This will help you.
Men, how many times has this happened to you?
To me. You know, our babies sleep really, really good.
Or this?
Make sure Timmy wears the blue shirt. If he doesn't...
Or even this?
And for my birthday, which is next month, I'd really like some of this.
Do you have trouble listening or retaining information from your wife? You could be suffering from spousal selective listening, or SSL. With SSL, valuable input is intercepted or scrambled before it reaches the critical learning center of the man brain. Virtually anything can trigger it, like sports, food, even shiny objects with buttons. Fortunately, there is help with Heritol. Containing a rare root with an exotic name, Heritol helps men focus and listen to valuable female input, even pick up on those subtle hints.
These are exactly the earrings I wanted. How did you know?
Thanks, Heritol. Now I can hear it all.
Heritol has not been tested or approved by any regulatory agency. Side effects with Heritol include minor to severe headaches and spontaneous combustion. Use caution when using Heritol near mothers-in-law, as you may hear hurtful comments that would have previously been ignored. Heritol is an enhancement drug. Do not use around children or clusters of talkative old blue-haired women. If focused listening lasts longer than 4 hours, consult your doctor immediately before your wife assumes this is a new standard in your relationship. Men with wives who are nursing or pregnant should not take this product. Heritol, the preferred selection or solution for selective hearing.
All right. So you might want to order some of that, guys. Let me give you the third observation here. A healthy marriage requires appropriate conflict resolution. Okay? I see this all the time. I mean, everyone's going to have conflict in your marriage. You just are. Chalk it up. And so when that happens, I want to give you just some advice here. There's 4 things I wrote down in my notes. 4 things. The first one is handle it privately. Okay? I can't tell you how many instances I've seen people go to Facebook and air out their dirty laundry on Facebook, and you're not helping things by doing that. You're only making it worse. Now you got everybody mad at your husband, and now I don't like him either. And then the next day you forgive him and you're back, back together. I love my husband. I've literally seen people air out their dirty laundry and the next day post the selfie. We love each other. I'm like, you guys are disgusting. I mean, it's crazy. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're not going to have a healthy relationship, all right, by doing that. So do it privately. The second thing is handle it directly. Put all the cards on the table. Like when you're discussing stuff, don't assume that they know all of the details. Just get it out there. Just say, hey, here's why I'm mad at you, and then you can talk about it. Number 3 is handle it quickly. Okay, don't let these things fester. Don't let them continue on. Don't bring it up 6 months later. Like you get into a different argument, and they're like, 6 months ago you did that. That's not helpful. Like you got to deal with it as it comes. It's helpful to do it that. And then fight fair. The last one's just fight fair. Like don't keep everything above board. And Somebody want to wake him up? But just fight fair. You know what I mean? Like don't take low blows. Don't say things that you're gonna regret later. You know, don't take cheap shots. So, anyways, all right. So that's how to handle conflict appropriately. Let's go on. Let's go back to the story of John chapter 4. Now we're in verse 19, and so if you remember, Jesus just goes out of the blue. He goes, "Go get your husband," and she goes, "I don't have a husband." He goes, "You're right, because you had 5 husbands, and the dude you're with now, he ain't your husband." And then verse 19, "Sir," the woman said, "You must be a prophet." Yeah, you think? I mean, he's more than a prophet, but Jesus was like, he told her to go get her husband. So I'm going to skip through a lot of stuff, in like 20 verses, because it's just kind of out in the weeds. So here's what happened after that. She goes, "Sir, you must be a prophet." And then she goes, just out of the blue, she goes, "Hey, let's argue about religion." She was like, "You Jews, you think you have to go to Jerusalem to worship, and we worship here." And so she's trying to draw him into a debate about religion, about all these side issues that have nothing to do with it. And Jesus just dealt with her directly to the point. Like, and that's one of the things I've learned through the years. Like, if I'm trying to share my faith with somebody and they want to argue all these side issues, I don't do that. Like if you're not open to the gospel, then I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to wait for God to work in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't ever engage in those types of. I used to. I used to, because I'm a fighter, and you know, I early on in my becoming a Christian, I was trying to argue with people, and then I'd get backed into a corner with something I didn't know, and like, now I just want to punch him in the throat, you know. So I just had to stop doing that, and it's not productive to do that, you know. So Jesus didn't allow her to draw him into this debate, and so he just kept it on track. And then what happened is, I just want you to see this, and you can go back and read this on your own. Jesus told her, or she goes like this at one point. She goes, "I know the Messiah is coming soon." And Jesus goes, "I'm him." Like, he raised his hand. He goes, "I'm him." And then there's something happened in the interaction, in the exchange, where she was converted. Like, she became convinced that he was the Messiah and gave her life to Christ. And then what happened was she went back to her, and then the disciples showed up, and she kind of left abruptly and went back to her village. And this is where the story picks up. I just want to read this, and then we'll be done. Verse 39 says, "When many Samaritans from the village believed in Jesus because the woman had said, 'He told me everything I ever did.' When they came out to see him, they begged him to stay in the village, so he stayed for 2 more days, long enough for many more to hear the message and believe. Then they said to the woman, 'Now we believe, not just because of what you told us, but because of what we heard for ourselves. Now we know that he is indeed the Savior of the world.'" And I think that that's amazing. I really do. And we're coming to a close, but Jesus used this woman who had been, you know, just a string of relationships. She was an outcast in society. She really was. But she went back to this village and told them, "Hey, you got to meet this guy, Jesus." And then he shows up, and the whole town is converted. And God used her to do that. And so I just want everyone in here, whether or not you've been a Christian for a long time or you're a brand new Christian, God wants to use you. Like, there are other people in your sphere of influence that need Jesus in their life, and they're not always going to come to church to hear that. That's why at church we do things like the Valentine's banquet and the men's beast feast and all these other things. We're trying to get people here that ordinarily wouldn't come to church. But at the end of the day, there's people that you know, you work with them, they're related to you. They're probably never going to come to a service, maybe not even an Easter service, but they watch your life. And if you go out and you show them that Jesus changed your life, they can't argue with that. It's going to create interest in them. And then when you get the opportunity to share with it, you may be terrified and go, "Well, what if they ask me something I don't know?" They probably will. But all you got to do is just say, "Hey, just come for yourself. Just come see, you know, come check out our church, or come find out about a relationship with Jesus." All right. So let me give you the 4th thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. Number 4 is this, and this is where, like, what I want to leave you with is that Jesus spoke to her deeper need. Okay, so in that interaction where she was trying to argue and debate with him about religion or all these other side issues, Jesus goes, "Hey, just go get your husband." And she's like, I don't have a husband. And I think what he was doing, I think he was just cutting to the chase and cutting through all the minutia. And he goes, your biggest problem, okay, now I'm reading into this, but this is your biggest problem is you're a relational train wreck because you're trying to find the meaning of life in a relationship with a man. That's what she was doing. She needed, I mean, I know lots of women that just need a man, like they need, like the men in their lives are taking Jesus' role. Like that's what an idol is. That's what a false idol is. And the reality is that everyone in here probably struggles to some degree with idol worship. Whenever you take that God-sized hole that's in your heart, and I'm talking to Christians too, and you try to fill that up with something other than Jesus, that's becoming an idol. You're becoming an idol worshiper. We do that with material things. We do that, with our possessions. We do that with our relationships. All of these things are a terrible substitute for Jesus. But with relationships, drugs, alcohol, sex, the things that you have and own, your achievements, climbing the ladder of success at your job. All of these things are just false idols. And until you figure out that Jesus is the only thing that's really going to satisfy in your heart, then you're always going to struggle. Well, today's the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs aren't in it. I know a lot of us are sad, but that's all right. But one thing that makes me happy is that Tom Brady retired. Amen. Can I get an amen? All right. I hope he doesn't come back. That would be if you were unretired. But anyways, I've talked about this before. I'm not going to show you the video, but I do have it. This was years ago. Tom Brady, okay, I don't like the guy, but he's hands down the greatest quarterback who's ever played. He just is. And you can't argue that. I mean, I think Mahomes is better, but until he wins some more Super Bowl rings, you can't put him in there. But the thing about Tom Brady, and some of you guys have seen this before, but he won 3 Super Bowl rings early on, right? I mean, he was at the pinnacle of the Super Bowl of the football world. I mean, he was it. Won 3 Super Bowl rings in 4 years, and they interviewed him after that. After he had 3 Super Bowl rings, so he's got 7 now, but he had 3 of them. And he goes, I've got 3 Super Bowl rings, and I still feel like there's something out there that I'm missing. Like he goes, it's got to be more than this. It's got to be more than just Super Bowl rings. And I know something that Tom Brady still to this day doesn't know, that it's found in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because he could get 10 Super Bowl rings, 1 for each finger on his hands, and he's still not going to fill that void that's in his soul, because it's only filled by a relationship with Jesus. And so I wanted to end with this, like living your best life means finding satisfaction and fulfillment in a relationship with Jesus.